In 1973, three astronauts staged the first strike in space. They shut down all communication with mission control back on Earth, and in that moment, NASA learned a really valuable lesson. Their biggest threat was not equipment failure, it turns out to be human failure. They really wanted to get on top of this issue to fix it, so they developed a secret model to try to predict conflicts before they even happen. And this is the exact same system that I'm going to break down for you today. I'm Mihna and welcome back to my channel. I have a question for you. Have you ever been on a team where you feel like you're talking a completely different language from your colleague? The project itself is not difficult, but this friction between people makes it feel insanely difficult, I would say. As an engineer, I've been trained to diagnose and build different systems, but for years, let's call it this human system, for me it felt like it's something wrong with it. When I first heard this NASA story, for me this was quite a big aha moment. Some light bulbs started to uh, light up, and it proved to me that those failures aren't just random things that happened to us, like people problem. They are predictable system failures, and because they are predictable, we can identify them and actually work with them. This video breaks down this framework that NASA created, and I think is basically like a user manual to show you your own predictable patterns, how you communicate, how you get motivated, and how you behave under different stressful situations. Because let's face it, we have those, I think, on a daily basis. Before you can start to read others to see who they are, how they communicate, you need first to identify your primary personality type, which is basically like your own operating system. Understanding what your psychological need is will be a game changer in, I think, all your future interaction. After I'll walk you through this model, you'll finally have a tool to understand how people work, and you will be able to prevent team conflict, hopefully, in the future before it even begins. And I think most importantly, you will have a tool to understand yourself a little bit better. Okay, so I want you to picture this. It's 1973. You are not in your office, you are not in your living room, and you are floating inside the Skylab space station. It's really cramped. There's constant noise from all the equipment, and outside there's only one tiny window you can look outside. It's basically silent, and it's the black emptiness of space. In this space station, you see three rookie astronauts who are on their 84 days mission. It's actually their 84th day into space. They are exhausted at this point, completely stressed. The atmosphere is not great at all. And one of them floats over to the main communication panel, and with one deliberate push of the button, he basically cuts down all communication with Earth. Back in Houston, with mission control, they are calling their names on the radio, but guess what? They hear nothing. Can you imagine how frustrated those three astronauts must have felt after all those 84 days? They were thinking, we are overloaded, we are being ignored, and we have something to do to make them listen. What can we do? And the only thing they could think of at the moment was like, okay, so they did it. They basically staged their first strike in space. For NASA, this was a huge and terrifying moment. It was not a technical failure. This time it was a human one. They realized that their process for picking the right stuff, the right people, was actually broken. They were masters of the technical systems, but they had no idea how to diagnose and prevent this, what we call earlier, the human system. This failure led NASA to call Dr. Taibi Kaler, who gave them a key. He explained them that the human distress isn't random, it's a predictable signal, like, think of it like a check engine light, that tells you that the core psychological need is not met. And in his research, he identified 6 core personality types, and he called this methodology the process communication model. Now, here's how he explained it, and I think it's simple and brilliant at the same time. Think of your personality like a 6-story building. You have all 6 personality types within yourself, just arranged in a slightly different order than me, for example. Imagine them like the floors of a house. The ground floor is the base of your personality. This is your if you want to call it, default operating system. It's basically the one that dictates how you prefer to communicate, what motivates you, and most importantly, it predicts the way you behave under stress. Now, in this model, Dr. Kaler talks about how we can use an elevator to access the different floors of this imaginary building that we just created, and about long-term shift called the personality phase, and many more concepts, which we will eventually get through. But for today, we're going to focus on the single most important thing, to identify your base. Because if you figure out this part, I would have basically given you, hopefully if we succeed, a user manual for your own brain. Okay, so as I walk you through these 6 personality types, I want you to see if you can spot your own base, your default, or your gut reaction. We're going to use one single scenario for all of them. Ready? Let's start. Imagine this. You're in a critical project meeting and everyone's been working hard for the last few weeks, and suddenly the project leader announces, management has changed their minds, we're going to scrap our current plan and pivot to a completely new strategy. We need a new plan by tomorrow. Now, I'll try to show you through the lenses of each of the 6 personality types how they see and understand this information that they just received from the project. First one up is the thinker. This is the person who is naturally responsible, logical, and organized. They see the world through thoughts and data, and what they need more than anything is for their work to be recognized and for their time to have a clear structure. When the thinker hears this news, what do you think is their internal reaction? Their first thought isn't about the wasted work, but is the fact that there is a lack of planning. They don't have a new plan. They are thinking, by when tomorrow is not clear. What are the new requirements? What was this decision based on? I can't move forward in this chaos. They feel a surge of stress because they see it as a direct threat to their core need for having structure and a logical process. Next up, we have number 2, the persister. This is the person incredibly dedicated and principled because they see the world through the filter of their own opinions and values. So their core psychological need is simple, for their work to be valued and their convictions to be valued as well. How does the persistent react to the news from this meeting? Their first thought is about the principle of the matter. They are thinking, wait, what? We all believed in this first plan because it was the right thing to do. Our dedication went for nothing. Did they even consider our opinion on this? They feel invalidated because it feels like their commitment and values have been dismissed without respect, without being considered even. The third one on our list is the harmonizer. This person is warm, compassionate, and sensitive, and that's because they experience the world through emotions and feelings of others. Because of this, their core need is to be recognized as a person, not their work, not their convictions, and to feel like they are in a comfortable environment. The harmonizer first thought is about the people. They are looking around the room thinking, oh no, everyone must feel crushed. They must feel awful. This is awful for the morale. I hope everyone is okay. They feel the cumulative stress of the group because the mood in the room after the news were given by the project manager hurt their core need for caring and having a positive environment. Number 4 is the imaginer. They are naturally calm, imaginative, and they process the world through being quiet and having internal reflection. This means that their core psychological need is for solitude. They need to have space and time to think through things on their own time, in their own space. What about the imaginer? How do you think the imaginer saw this news being broken to them? Their first thought was an urge to escape this chaos. They were thinking, this is way too much, this is too fast. I cannot think with all this noise, and I need to get out of it and process this on my own. I don't know what the new direction will be. They feel overwhelmed because of this sudden demand for immediate plan, And this is basically like a direct assault on their need for quiet reflection. They actually need time to process this and wait for it to be, if you want, digested. Number 5, we have the rebel, the person who is spontaneous, creative, and plain fun. They experience the world through playful reactions. They thrive on high energy, something I don't have much of it. So it makes sense that their core psychological need is for playful contact. How does the rebel see this chaos? While others see a problem, they might be thinking, whoa, everything just got thrown up in the air. This is awesome. This is way more exciting than this boring old plan. They feel a jolt of energy because the sudden disruption isn't a threat, it's a welcome break from their routine, and they see this as a fun new challenge. And finally, on number 6, we have the promoter. This person is adaptable and persuasive, and they are wired for action. They always see the world in terms of next challenges. Because of this, their core psychological need is a big new challenge that gives them a fast payoff. They need adrenaline. The promoter's first thought is about the opportunity to win in this situation that I just presented earlier. They are thinking, okay, forget the old plan, this is a new game. Now I can take charge and deliver something amazing for tomorrow. They feel a rush of adrenaline, as I said, because the high stakes and the tight deadline are the exact kind of challenges their system actually craves. Okay, so one of these 6 reactions to the project news probably felt very familiar to you. That's instinctive, it's your gut reaction, it's a clear signal of your base floor and your primary operating system. So, what do you do with this knowledge? This is actually where we stop this as a theoretical lecture and becomes your personal user manual. Let's take this practical example. Imagine your base floor is imaginer, nice playful words there, and you know you run on a quiet time and solo recharge, right? Based on what we just learned. In this crisis meeting, you felt overwhelmed, most likely before without knowing this model. Probably you would have thought, okay, I'll just wait it out, accept the feelings, and think, yeah, meh, this is normal, I guess, and yeah, it will pass eventually. With this new way, with this new information, it's time for you to stop ignoring your user manual that you just received now and to start actually using it. And here's how to do it. You open your calendar for the week. You see that you have 2 back-to-back meetings that you know already that they will drain your energy. So you find a 30-minute slot right after and you block it. You label it however you want. Me time, doctor time, focus time, doesn't matter. And for you, somewhat with an imaginary base, this isn't a luxury, it's a requirement for your system reboot. You are meeting your psychological need by yourself, which is the most healthy way to do it, before the stress even hits. And this small and simple action is how you actively prevent your own system failure. So, the thing that really gets me through about this whole NASA story, it's how it simplifies such a really complex topic. And that whole team friction, if you want to call it the drama, luckily is not random. It's a signal. Let's see it as a check engine light. And when it's on, it basically tells us that the need is not met at this moment. And once you figure out which of the 6 personality types is your base floor, it's like you've finally been handed the user manual of your own mind. You can start to see why you react the way you do, and you can actually do something about it before the stress hits a critical limit. Honestly, we've barely scratched the surface with this stuff. I've been looking deeper into the parts of this model, the process communication model, for the past few years, like this idea of using an elevator to use energy from different floors of the personality, and something called a personality phase, but that's a whole completely different discussion, which I promise we'll cover in future videos. Before we can even get into that, I think it would be really helpful to get a solid handle of each of the 6 personality types. So basically my plan will be to start a mini series where I'll have a dedicated video for each of the personality types to basically start to building a strong foundation together. If you want to stick around, you know what to do. And I'm actually really curious. If you need, please re-listen the middle part of this video and let me know which of the 6 types do you think it's your base floor. Drop it down in the comments. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and I'll see you into the next one. Cheers.